As I'm sure many long-time fans of this channel know, well, okay, not exactly a long time, we've only been around for almost 2 years? But you people know that I'm slowly being driven insane, and I'll admit a huge part of that is because of the unsolved mysteries of Five Nights at Freddy's, because there's a ton. Scott just doesn't want us to have any clear story, which is definitely how you should do your storytelling. I'm sure many of you have noticed that I have a new look going on, though. These new character designs are done by Afton, who the link to his channel will be in the description. He doesn't upload too often, but I figured I might as well let you know. He does some cool stuff, speed paints and such. Anyway, what's this video about? Well, I'm going to be going over some of the most frustrating unsolved mysteries that we have in this franchise. I'll be discussing them a little bit, and discussing what I think they could be, and my potential solutions to these problems. The biggest mystery in the franchise that somehow still exists today is the identity of Golden Freddy. Now, we have some fairly solid leads, but nothing too substantial. Some people think it's Cassidy, which I think is a very good guess, but we don't really know for sure still. Some people think that it's actually the bite victim, which, I mean, he was bitten by Fredbear, so I suppose it could be. And then the newest book in the Fazbear Fright series has this kid named Kelsey, except that it's not actually Kelsey, whatever. It's very confusing. The point is, we don't really know. We've had a lot of good leads, but nothing that actually proves who it is. And it's also really weird how Golden Freddy is a hallucination in most of these games. He just teleports into your office, and in FNAF 2, he's literally just a floating head. So, kinda confusing. One interesting unsolved mystery is the identity of the shadow animatronics. I did a theory on them a little while back, and I think it's pretty good, so if you want to check that out, it's there. But we don't really have any idea of who these guys are supposed to be. My theory was that they're the representation of the Dark Remnant based around William's murders, or for Shadow Freddy's case, around the Bite of 83. But we still have no idea whether that's true or who these characters are at all. Maybe they're just little fun Easter eggs like JJ. JJ almost never shows up in the series, yet we'd all just accept that she exists, even though she doesn't have any importance to the lore whatsoever. But with the shadow animatronics constantly showing up again and again, it feels like they must have some importance. At least Shadow Bonnie does. Shadow Freddy has kinda disappeared in past games. Of course, no theory video would be complete without the inclusion of the Bite of 83. Remember the bite victim? Yeah, he's still causing controversy to this day. Some people think that he is a robot now, some people think he's Michael Afton, some people think he's literally no one important, some people think he's Golden Freddy, as I mentioned before, but we really don't know. I mean, if he's a robot, which already is a big stretch, that causes a whole bunch of other problems in the series. If he's just no one, then why is his story so important? Why do we get a whole game dedicated to it if it's not important to the story at all? And what does the "I will put you back together" line mean? We just don't really have any answers. Speaking of FNAF 4, which is where a lot of mysteries started to show up, what's in the box? That's also something that we don't really know. At this point, I feel like it kind of has to be a metaphor of some kind. I'm pretty sure Scott mentioned it in Daco's interview and said that that MatPat was right about the contents changing over the years or something like that. But what is it now? It's still kind of a mystery that we all just can't really agree on, though I do think it's probably just a metaphor for something and not a literal box. One small mystery that doesn't really have much importance to the story is, where's Funtime Chica during Sister Location? Most people consider that she's rented out, because that's really the only explanation we have. All the other Funtime animatronics are there. We have Freddy, we have Foxy, and Bonnie of course shows up on the hand puppet. But a location named Chica's Party World was also mentioned in a teaser. So does she have her own location? And why is it never mentioned again? We just don't really know. Another interesting mystery from Sister Location is, in Night 4, we're trapped inside an animatronic, hidden there by Baby while Mini-Renas try to get us. We know it's a Springlock suit, which is interesting, but we don't really know what suit this is. Baby says that it was never used, and that would have been the end to this mystery, but then she goes on to say, not the way it was meant to be used. Okay, so what does that mean? What was this suit used for? You'd think we would have heard of it, and yet we never get any evidence as to who it is. All we know is it's a Springlock suit. So is it Spring Bonnie? No, because at this point in the timeline, Spring Bonnie is Springtrap, and already has someone inside of it. Is it Golden Freddy? I doubt that. So who is this animatronic? One more mystery from Sister Location is, remember how Ennard was a mix of all the Funtime animatronics? You had Baby, Ballora, Funtime Foxy, and Funtime Freddy in it. Well, by the time Pizzeria Simulator rolls around, we have Ennard as Molten Freddy. He's still around, but Baby is now her own separate entity again. She's separate from Ennard. When did that happen? Why did it happen? What did Baby do that got her booted out of Ennard? And how did she get her old body back again? Because it looks pretty much the same to her old body. We've never got an answer to this, and this is one that I doubt we ever will, because it isn't really that important to the story, just a plot hole, if you will. Pizzeria Simulator also gave us some interesting questions. It was mostly meant to tie up loose ends, but it still gave us some really weird questions that we don't have answers to. The main one is, who is the orange guy? At this point, most of us just believe he's William Afton, but then, why is he orange? It just doesn't really make sense. Like, is he supposed to be Henry? No, because Henry doesn't have any sons as far as we know. At least, in the games, he doesn't. The point is, no matter who we say this orange guy is, there's always some questions that just don't make sense. Moving on, I want to talk about Glitch Trap. I've never really talked about FNAF VR on the channel much, but Glitch Trap is a very confusing case to me. We kinda know where he came from, and mysterious parts were sent to Fazbear Entertainment while they were making the VR game, with circuit boards and machinery that they had to put into the game, and then Glitch Trap started to show up. Who sent those pieces? We can assume it's Vanny, probably, but... and that's the other thing, how does Vanny fit into all this? I know that this is part of the ongoing story, and so we won't get all the answers just yet, but I'm still really curious as to how all this happened. Who's Vanny? Who's Glitch Trap? How did he come here? And what's their plan? I guess a security breach will help us out with that. This last theory that I have for the games is about FNAF AR, and whether it's canon or not. Because, I mean, I'm of the mind that it isn't, because on the one hand, there's nothing that, like, clearly says it's non-canon, but at the same time, it seems like a huge stretch that Fazbear Entertainment mass-produces these animatronics, sends them to people's houses all over the world, and then makes, like, new variants. I mean, we literally have a glow-in-the-dark Foxy. That's a bit far-fetched to me. And, I mean, they also added Springtrap, and he has William's corpse inside of him. So, are they thinking that they're gonna send animatronic suits filled with dead bodies to people? Somehow I feel like that's not gonna happen. That doesn't really make sense either. The only thing that I think definitely is canon are the emails. For those of you who don't know, there are some emails that you get sent to your inbox in the game. And they have some lore hints about the game, mostly about Vanny. Alright, that's all for now. I'll see you guys next time, and if you do like this video, maybe I'll do one on the books, because they have their own very interesting mysteries, and there's some things I'd love to talk about. So, let me know. In the meantime, again, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.